Hello people, I'm Jaby Koay, joined by Achara. Kirk.
What's up?
We're looking at a VIDYUT JAMMWAL video here that explores a lesser known, not so controversial topic that not too many people have talked about.
Yeah.
But
brand new.
I thought that we would be sort of the pioneers, the spearheaders of this particular conversation that no one is talking about. That is sarcasm, for those of you that don't know. Every single time I get two comments in the videos, one person going, "We know you're joking, Jaby," and then other comments going, "Wait, why? You're so stupid, Jaby," because they don't realize I'm being sarcastic. So, there you go.
I got a funny feeling. I got a funny feeling. Yeah.
We're looking at a VIDYUT JAMMWAL video here called VIDYUT's Conversation with the BBC Asian Network. On the thumbnail, he says, "I love nepotism." And so,
okay.
Very excited to see what he has to say here. I can imagine the sort of conversation that is going to ensue, but let's hear it for ourselves.
I believe in this whole thing of nepotism. I love nepotism. If you're my friend and your son wants to be an actor, I will make sure he becomes an actor. You're my friend, otherwise what am I your friend for? But I will not stop somebody else's. That's the only change we need to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
एड्रेस गलत है ऐसा कोड है ही नहीं मुझे पता नहीं मेरी वाइफ कहाँ 2 दिन तक मैं क्या करूँगा मेरी बीवी ढूंढने में मेरी मदद करती है
When Disney Plus Hotstar announced your film Khuda Hafiz as part of a slate of 7 films that they were launching, you tweeted that you weren't invited to that movie launch.
So this is funny. So I woke up in the morning and I read this message where everybody is supposed to be on this call, and I spoke to myself and I heard myself speaking to me. So the question was, hey, how come they didn't invite you, dude? And exactly the thoughts that came to my mind is what I wrote on the phone. I just tweeted it. And in the next 5 minutes, there were plethora of messages coming in. So what it did for my state of mind was I was so proud of the fact that the whole nation stood for me. And I just realized that sometimes, see, I'm a true martial artist. I've been beaten in the ring a lot of times. I've been kicked, I've been punched. I'm used to it. But sometimes you got to give it back.
Can you understand from any perspective why you might not have been invited?
There could be a lot of reasons. You know, there's not ever a single reason for something to happen. And this is not the philosophical side of me saying it. I have plethora of thoughts. This could be it. This could be it. That one could be it. This could be it. I can't figure it out. And I genuinely don't feel like I need to, because destiny has a very big role in everybody's life.
There are some obvious things that come to mind. For example, the Commando series, you've made 3 of these. They're big action films, but I don't think any of them, or I think one of them actually released in the UK, but it was a very small limited release. Now, when I think of the Commando series, if I had to compare it to anything else being made in the Hindi film industry, I would compare it to the Baghi series, which when that is released internationally, gets a big release, multiple screens, and a big studio backing it as well. Now, on the face of it, when I look at VIDYUT JAMMWAL and I look at Tiger Shroff, the only obvious difference is that one might come from a film family and therefore might have more support from within the industry. But I'd like to know from your opinion whether you think that's an accurate summary or whether that's just pure speculation.
When I come to this city, I know it will be very difficult. I know it might not be easy. You might just have to dissipate. I come from this state of mind, but I have to keep going on, not thinking what this one's movie's done or this one's movie's done. I see myself, oh, my movie's done this, and now we will do the second part. Oh my God, thank God, thank God. And then, oh my God, third has done so well. So I do not really concentrate. It's amazing if you don't concentrate on anything else but you.
When you woke up that morning and you saw that tweet, there was a voice in your mind telling you, why didn't they invite me? Do those sort of questions not pop up when you see that you are maybe treated differently to another actor, or that, you know, all those kind of things?
There are some fields that are watered by the river, and there are some fields which are just dead. But somebody who comes from the dead fields cannot be destroyed. I am that person. It is difficult. Who said it's not difficult? You know how it feels when you're not from the industry? Have you ever been in a car in India and the beggars knocking at the window? People I've noticed are either very busy on the phone or they will look in the front. They will start fixing up the music systems. People like me who come from the outside of the industry, the problem is you feel so invisible. I just believe that people should be kind. They should at least look and say, no, I'm not interested. You know, people do get it. The only difference we need to make in this whole thing is that we need to not consider people being invisible.
I think that what he said was right on point.
Yeah, oh my God.
That's very much what we've been saying though. I don't know which video is coming out first, but in a reaction that we did, I hope that video comes out. It might get blocked because it's a trailer reaction.
Yeah, it's a trailer reaction
but
to something, but.
In any case, in that reaction video, one of the things I said was, we don't need to exclude people who benefit from nepotism. We just need to make room for people who don't.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. But the thing about it is, this is a collective effort. When you have people who are unknown, at least in the States, this is true. When you have people who are unknown and not quite bankable, there are less people who are going to see that movie. It's considered more independent. Like you have unknowns in the film.
Yeah.
How are you gonna make money off of that? There has to be an element in there that people are familiar with. Case in point, it's going way back to 1995, 96, Mortal Kombat. A lot of those actors were not super well known except for Christopher Lambert, but even he wasn't like super, I was a kid, I'm like, who the hell's Highlander?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know his name, right?
He's a TV actor.
But the thing is, that was a very bankable title, it was IP. It was like everyone knew what Mortal Kombat was gonna make money either way. So you have some instances like that where you can put unknowns, but like if you just have a good story with unknown actors, you are taking a huge gamble that a lot of people won't see that movie because they don't know what to look for. They don't know why they should go and find that story. That has changed to some degree where if you just have a solid looking movie with a really good story, there are people who will go seek that out, but you will get way more people seeking it out if you've got names to back it, famous names to back it. And the thing about it is, celebrities are people that we are all very intrigued with. We all want to know more about them, and as an extension of that, we know about their kids. And so when the kids grow up, they're already famous. There's already a certain degree of bankability to them.
Yeah.
So when you put them in a movie, the movie is more likely to make money than someone who has been working their ass off, like really trying to like putting their nose to the grindstone to get out there and get their name out there. It's just natural. There's no reason to be mad about it. That's just the nature of life. It's just like, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
I see no point in being upset about it and making a huge stink about it. I just think that me as an audience member, I have to actively look for those films that are lesser known, look for those stories that are not, paid as much attention to, and, put my money into that. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate VIDYUT's just
Disposition.
very gracious attitude towards it all, and just how resilient he seems. Like, I love that thing he said about how the field that gets watered by the river, and how the field that is dead, he comes from that dead field.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't knock him down because he knows what a drought is, basically. Yeah. And I just really like the way he thinks, and how, even when the guy was trying to bait him and be like, okay, well, how do you feel about, your movie series Commando is very similar to the Baggy franchise, and like there doesn't really seem to be a discernible difference between you and Tiger Shroff, apart from the fact that, Tiger Shroff is Tiger Shroff and he's Jackie Shroff's son. He was just really cool about it. He's basically like, no, I'm just focused on me. And I think that's the best thing that you can do, is like, because you can get so distracted. And I mean, I fall prey to this all the time, where I'm like looking around and I'm like, what's this person doing? What's that person doing? Why aren't I doing enough? Like, and then you just get distracted, and then you're not focused on bettering yourself and doing the best that you can do.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like people who come from outside of the industry and had to work really hard to get their foot in the door because they've had to really struggle, it's like when you give them the opportunity, they really step up to the plate because they know that they might not get that opportunity again. Whereas with people who have the support of their family and friends or whatever in the industry, they might get a few more chances to get better, you know what I mean?
Just to take this in a more broad direction, Achara and I are both of mixed descent, and typically what you see in Hollywood are Caucasians. And in the last, 20, 25 years, you've seen a growth of black actors, right? But it's not often you see someone of Asian descent being famous if they didn't come from another industry like the Hong Kong cinema, for instance, right? Or Korean cinema. Yeah. Like if they came from somewhere else, that makes them more globally bankable. And so then you'll see that Ken Watanabe is a great example. He's already famous in Japan, and then you see him showing up in a bunch of American films. You didn't see American-raised Asian actors who then became famous. You don't see that too often. And so that can be very frustrating, and then let alone half Asian actors, with the exception of a few people like Keanu Reeves, who's more quarter Asian, but you have some people who are half Asian that do make it. Yeah. And so the reason I'm going through all of this is because as someone who did commercial acting for a very long time, up until pandemic, and so I'm gonna go back to that once pandemic is over. As someone who's also run those auditions, as I explained in the video of where I met Achara, I see what happens. I see who gets cast. I see the breakdowns, and it often says Caucasian, 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 and then like Black, African American, right? And then sometimes it's, for my categories, it's ethnically ambiguous or Asian, right? And oftentimes when it says ethnically ambiguous, they end up going with someone white. I've seen that happen. And so, as someone who has come from an industry that has frustrated the shit out of him, I'm still saying nepotism isn't something you should shit on, isn't something that we should do away with. It's a natural thing. You can get mad at it, it's still gonna be there. It's just gonna be done in a way that's a little bit more secretive for a while. It's just gonna like dip for a little bit and then come right back up. And so there's no point, it's like pollution. You know, pandemic shut that shit down for a bit and came right back up. So what I'm trying to say is that nepotism isn't going anywhere, and as it just won't. Because if any of you were in the same position as Shah Rukh Khan or Saif Ali Khan, you're gonna help your own kid to, you know, become famous. Why wouldn't you?
That's
just
what
like,
they want.
Just like he said, just like VIDYUT JAMMWAL said, but you do need to make room for those other people. You gotta find a way to give those people opportunities like Raj and DK are doing.
Yeah.
Where like people are pitching them stories and whatnot, and they're making room for people who are unknown. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so we just collectively as a society need to find ways to help prop up, you know, those actors who are struggling, who are lesser known, and, you know, praise them for their talents and help them get into those higher positions for their talents, as opposed to just because of their name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know, I feel like, at least in the States, quite quickly, like Tom Hanks's kid is not super famous.
No.
Right? And Clint
He
Eastwood
still works,
He
but
still
yeah.
works. Clint Eastwood's kid is not crazy famous. People know who he is, but he's
Yeah.
not working at the level, anywhere near the level that Clint Eastwood did, or the level that Tom Hanks works, right?
Yeah.
And so my point being is, once you're in that position, if you're not killing it as an actor here,
Yeah.
you know, you'll still get work, but it's just not gonna be at that level. Unlike John David Washington, who's Denzel Washington's kid. He benefited from nepotism, sure, but he worked his ass off to become a damn good actor.
Yeah.
So
Like, back it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's my feeling about it. And if anyone has the right to be frustrated about these sorts of things, I feel like we certainly do, as people who have struggled against like what always gets cast, which is, you know, white people in our industry. And so, coming from that background, I'm still saying there's nothing wrong with nepotism, and I feel like, okay, taking this in another direction, like The Simpsons, right, where they got rid of Apu.
Yeah.
Right? That pissed me off. I'm like, don't get rid of him. Just introduce more Indian characters that aren't the stereotypical representation.
Yeah.
Which I feel like The Simpsons actually did. There's like a lot of stuff where they explored Apu's character. It was just the fact that it was just him in particular that people had issue with, but like they forget that The Simpsons makes fun of everybody.
Well, and also that he's voiced by a white man.
I don't see an issue with that. It's the voiceover industry. In the voiceover industry, you have white people voicing all kinds of ethnicities. You have black people voicing other ethnicities. You have Asians voicing. I would never want to have a situation where I can't have an Indian person voicing a white dude, right?
Right.
So, because there's not that many Indian characters that you see in animations to begin with, or American animations. And so it's like, no, just make it open to everybody. I've gotten auditions for black characters. Mm-hmm. You gotta sound black.
How'd that go?
Not great, because I don't know how to sound black. But the point of the fact of the matter is, I got those audition sides. You know, I've gotten those submissions. It just happens. So my whole thing is like, there's nothing inherently wrong with Hank Azaria doing Apu. I don't have an issue with that. I have an issue with not giving enough Indian actors the opportunity.
Sure.
That's where I take umbrage. You just got to make room for more people. And it's like, there's billions of people on this planet, and there are so many platforms with which to ingest content. You can't tell me there are not opportunities for more people. There's gotta be. There's gotta be room for everybody at this point. It's insane how many platforms there are.
I think it's just also what VIDYUT was saying, which is like, just see us.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just like see everyone in the talent pool and give people who are deserving the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, prove yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Soapbox finished. And I liked what VIDYUT JAMMWAL had to say. I thought this was a cool interview, and I thought the
so
guys,
classy.
I thought the Asian BBC's questions were actually pretty on point too. Like I thought they were good questions. They were very smart questions.
I just kind of wish that I could have seen the full conversation because you could really tell that they'd kind of edited it together to kind of serve this narrative, I suppose.
Well, VIDYUT JAMMWAL edited that conversation, or at least his team did.
Right. Yeah. Well, I want to know what else they talked about.
Right.
Because that looks super cool.
Right. And what's interesting as well is that this video has 39,000 upvotes and 665 downvotes. So the vast majority of people who watch this video that support VIDYUT JAMMWAL because A, they like him, and B, they're against nepotism, they like this video. So that's cool, you know? Anyway, whatever. Gonna conclude this video. Awkward exit. Okay. Well,